Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks YouTube channel, a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of Left Wing Lock, your number one source for fantasy hockey intelligence. Bruce, judging by yesterday's live stream, I went and looked at it after. It looks like we got our audio issues sorted.
That's good.
Which I'm pretty excited about. Yeah, so
Was I talking to the microphone?
Good. Well, at least people can hear you now. Okay, we got lots to get to today. Let's maybe just jump right into it. Hey, we got DFS, game picks, and prop bets for today. So let's start, though, with yesterday's games, May 11th recap. Crosby left in the second yesterday after what was an apparent headshot from Jacob Trouba. But I don't know about you, Bruce. I've seen a couple different angles of it now, and it seems like maybe it's a little less of a headshot than it was initially thought.
Well, the league didn't consider it a headshot. They considered it a legal hit. So I've looked at it a few times, and for me, it's tough to tell.
Right.
So I guess if it isn't clearly a headshot, they're just going to say it's a legal hit.
Yeah, Frank Saravelli had a nice breakdown. Actually, he had some thoughts on it, and he put those out on Twitter this morning. I know Trouba can be a bit of a nasty player sometimes, and so it wouldn't have surprised me if it was a headshot. But looking at the different angles, I can see why the NHL decided not. Again, supplementary discipline in this one.
And the Rangers needed to do something because Pittsburgh was literally all over them.
Yeah.
So they needed to do something, and basically knocking Crosby out of the game pretty much did that, because the Penguins, it looks like they pretty much fell apart right after that. So
yeah, it sure did. The Rangers got some nice production from Philip Hedl, Capo Caco, and Lafreniere. Hedl had the game winner on the power play, actually. Caco had 1 assist. Lafreniere had a goal and an assist. They had shot attempts for 10-3 for them, so 77 Corsi for percentage, a 50 goal for percentage, an 86.91 expected goals for percentage for that line last night.
That's really good considering they've been kind of quiet, and they've been kind of quiet all season too. So it's nice to see them coming through when the Rangers needed them.
Well, and two, they scored. They had 6 scoring chances, 4 to 1 against from Pittsburgh,
and taking care of the defensive side too. That's even bigger help.
For
they're
sure,
not a liability when they're out there.
And then we got a bit of a bounce back from Shesterkin. He had a 906 save percentage, so not great, still kind of average, but at least he didn't get yanked, so that was positive.
Well, and he got some goal support finally too. He hasn't really had that in the past couple of games. They've been horribly outplayed and shelled, and he got some goal support, so he can be a little more comfortable back there.
The Cardiac Cats, Bruce. Let's move on to that series.
In terms of giving all the fans a coronary, yes, that would be probably pretty close.
Yeah, basically. So they went down 3-0. The Caps scored twice in the second period in 85 seconds. I'm sure there were some fans having a heart attack last night. But Verhaeghe absolutely exploded. So yesterday we had recommended him as a DFS pick. Bruce, I picked him up.
Yeah,
you picked him up. Yep. That worked out really well. I won my contest yesterday. Finished first, and then you were 5th or 6th in the contest you played in.
Yep. Yeah, so having Verhaeghe definitely helped, because I had Crosby too, and he ended up with because he got knocked out, a big 0.
I also had Crosby in one lineup. Yeah. I didn't realize this until later, but Barkov, Giroux, and Verhaeghe were actually placed on a line together, and they crushed it. 5-on-5, 17 shot attempts for, so 77 Corsi for percentage. They outshot the Caps 13-3. They outscored them 3-0. This is all 5-on-5. Outscored them 3-0 and had 10 scoring chances, so 71% scoring chance for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Like, it's kind of like, Barkov, Huberdeau have been pretty quiet during this series, right? And it's almost like Verhaeghe said, okay, well, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'm going to do it.
I've got it, boys. Yep.
5 points, like, was in on each goal. Just incredible.
Yeah, he just went off. So he's actually tied for first in playoff scoring right now with 10 points and 5 goals.
Incredible. Good for him. It's nice to see that some of the smaller players, but not someone that's not a big name is stepping up and filling the gap here for the big players until they can find their way.
Absolutely. So, yeah, they get that done. They're up 3-2 going back to Washington. Let's move on to Dallas-Calgary here. So Calgary ends up winning that game. Markstrom was solid. He had 20 saves for a 952 save percentage and a 1.00 GAA. They continue to run Dallas's show 5-on-5. They had 53 total shot attempts. They had 20 shot attempts in the third period. Outshot Dallas 26-18, generated 20 scoring chances. Dallas had 3 power play opportunities. They had just 3 shot attempts on those 3 power plays, Bruce. two total shots.
It's not going to win you a game.
Absolutely. And then Mangiapane was a standout in this one. He had 1 game-winning goal and a primary assist on Michael Backlund's goal. So there you have it. There's all the juicy details from yesterday's game. Should we move on to our previews and picks for today?
Sure.
Alrighty. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I had some notes here as well. No projected lineup changes for either side, but I wanted to make mention of William Nylander, who he's on the third line, Bruce. So if you're looking at playing William Nylander tonight, just keep that in mind. He's not playing on the second line with Tavares right now. They've been alternating wins, right, throughout the series. I kind of expect that tonight, Bruce. And then Tampa is leading the way in shot attempts, 196 to 197. It's a 52% Corsi 4. Scoring chances, they are also leading at 120 to 97. That's a 55 scoring chance 4 percentage. And then actual goals 5-on-5 looks like they are about 50-50. I'm going to go with Tampa tonight. My original prediction for this series was Toronto in 7. I'm going to stick with that. So we'll see Toronto finally snap their first-round exit and beat Tampa in Game 7. Bruce,
I'm still going with Tampa. it's when you look at it, you look at the numbers and stuff, but you've got 2-time Stanley Cup champions on one side, and you've got the team on the other side that basically is falling apart at every opportunity to clinch a series. And I just don't think it's going to go well for them. They might need to make a coaching change before the end of the season and put Jason Spezza in as coach so that they can win something.
Yeah, it's great. That's just such a cool story, right? Good for him.
Yeah, exactly. It's been, like I said, I think in the last show, he was their best player last year against Montreal. Through that whole series, he was their best player. And again, he comes through, not necessarily on the ice, but in the room with a big speech to get the boys up and going. And hopefully he's got a good pregame one for them tonight because they're going to need it.
Yeah, no question they will. I don't think Tampa's going to relinquish anything. Like, they're going to come out hard on home ice. I just don't see Tampa losing this game. But
and I think read somewhere in the last 2 games, Steven Stamkos has scored in the first 3 minutes of the game in the last 2 games.
There you go. Well, we should have put that as one of our goal props. I didn't actually put it. I'll have to take a look at that, Bruce. But I think it was some nice odds for him to score first there.
Yeah.
The other thing too on the Tampa Bay Lightning, they are 16-0 following a loss in the playoffs. So
hard to go against that.
Yeah. Carolina and Boston. So we've got plus 105 on the money line for Carolina, minus 120 on the money line for the Bruins. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes tonight. I think we're going to see 2 series end tonight, Bruce, and this is one of them. I just think Carolina has owned these guys, and they actually broke up the perfection line. So that was one note I wanted to mention here. There's some lineup changes. And actually, no lineup changes for Carolina, but for the Bruins, they've got Swayman in goal. Pasternak has actually moved back to right wing 2. DeBrusk has moved up to right wing 1 with Marchand and Bergeron. Hampus Lindholm is back. He's on the top pairing with McAvoy. And then 5-on-5, it's Boston leading the way, 210 to 202 for shot attempts. Shots on goal, they're leading as well at 111 to 97. But Carolina is actually outscoring Boston 12 to 6, 5-on-5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a bit of a discrepancy there. And for me, that's at plus money. I'm taking Carolina. You felt the same way.
Yeah, me too. I'm taking Carolina as well. I think this will be done tonight.
All right, next up, Minnesota Wild versus the St. Louis Blues. You got the Wild at minus 115 on the road versus the St. Louis Blues minus 105 on the money line at home. Again, some quick notes here. Binnington is 2-0-0 with a 2.00 goals against average and a 935 save percentage. Bruce, I wanted to ask you, who scores more goals tonight, Kirill Kaprizov or Vladimir Tarasenko?
I'm hoping it's Kaprizov. That's who I have in my lineup tonight, my DFS for today. I'm hoping it's Kaprizov, but it's gonna be a battle.
Absolutely will be. You and I talked this off air a little bit, but head coach Dean Evison, he wouldn't confirm, or at least I haven't seen anything confirmed yet, but it looks like Talbot's going to start. He was the first goaltender off the ice.
Yep, that's what I read.
So he's here's so I'll get to my pick here just for a second. I'm actually going with St. Louis on the money line to close out this series at home because Cam Talbot is 1-2-0 against the Blues this season with a 5.92 goals against average, an .814 save percentage, and a negative 8.35 goals saved above average. And he is yet to play in this series. So for me, bringing a goaltender in cold, Bruce, as Oilers fans, we know we've seen Talbot let in some leaky ones at times. Yeah. I know it's a different scenario in Minnesota, and Minnesota is a very, very good club. But you know what? St. Louis is surprised a bit in this first round. And I can just see them wanting to close out this series at home in Game 6. So I'm going to take them there at minus 105. You have a difference of opinion here, though, Bruce.
I'm still going with the Wild. Talbot's been a little rough, but it's the playoffs here, and I think Talbot will be equal to the task here. It's going to be a close game, I think, tonight. The Wild are going to pull it out, and they're going to go back home for 7.
And that was my original prediction, was St. Louis in 7, but they have an opportunity to close it out here on home ice, so I think they'll go that way, but we'll see. We'll find out, and we'll talk about it again next week.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Edmonton and LA. We've got, you know what? I'm wearing my Oilers hat again today, but man, I have lost all confidence in this team right now. I don't have high hopes for tonight. But the odds makers feel different because they're at minus 140 on the money line, and LA is at plus 120 at home to close out this series. So, some notes. Bruce, you had actually mentioned that they made some lineup changes, right? They're going to stack up that top line.
Yeah, the practice this morning, or the morning skate, the top line was stacked. Draisaitl, McDavid, and Yamamoto. And then they had Nuge with Kane and Hyman. So they dropped Puljujarvi into the bottom 6. He was on the third line.
So they're essentially loading up their top 2 lines to just try and get something going.
Yeah. And the key for them tonight is actually starting on time. They can't come in 10 minutes later or whatever. They have to start on time, or they're going to be chasing the game again.
Yeah. It's been brutal in this series. They haven't showed up until the second period, right?
Yeah.
No Darnell Nurse for tonight. He took a 1-game suspension for headbutting Philip Deneau. Honestly, just a careless play from Darnell Nurse.
Just dumb.
You can't do that this time of the year. They need you in the lineup, and I just, there wasn't much happening on that play. Like, Deneau kind of gave him a bit of a whack, but it was nothing egregious, and I think Darnell was just frustrated at that point in the game. And
could very well, but they were all frustrated in that game. Everyone was doing dumb things in that game.
Yeah. Philip Broberg was recalled from the Condors in a related move. The Oilers, surprisingly, Bruce, are actually leading this series in shot attempts at 276 to 256, so it's a 51.88 Corsi for percentage. Shots do lean towards LA, though, 142 to 132. This is all at 5-on-5, of course.
Yeah.
11 goals for on each side, and LA leads in scoring chances at 146 to 135. And then special teams, Edmonton has a top-rated power play in the playoffs right now at 41.2%. Their PK is at 90%, and then LA's at 14th, I think, on the power play at 10%, and their PK is at 58.8%. So it really, this shouldn't be a contest, Bruce. We've been talking about this for a week and a half now. It should be Edmonton's series to win, and yet here we are, right?
Yeah, the Oilers just seem at sometimes just not interested in playing. It baffles me considering how. Yeah, it just baffles me how they can play like that. It just does. I don't get it. I would be one stat I'd be curious to see is how many block shots each team has. LA's got to have a ton. Like, they're doing their best Chris Russell impression. Like, when I watched the game the other night, they were blocking everything.
Yeah,
everything was a block shot. Well,
and they are. Yeah, no, they've been blocking a lot of shots throughout the series. I have to go look at the numbers after. One thing I found interesting through just reading on Twitter, the narrative has been this is Ken Holland's fault, and I disagree with that. I think that Ken Holland is I've been a critic of his at many points throughout this season, but I think he's assembled a team that is capable of winning a first-round series, especially against a depleted LA Kings lineup. And this one's on the players. So if the Oilers don't make it past the first round, this is not on Ken Holland. This is on the players, in my opinion.
No, I would agree with you. This is on the players. When he added Kane, and you've seen what Kane has done since he was added to the team, this is definitely on the players. Like Nurse doing something stupid and taking himself out of this game, that just like they're gonna have Chris Russell draw in, so they're at least gonna get 1 or 2 or 10 block shots tonight because the guy's like a brick wall when he's in there. Gets beat up like one too.
I'm smiling because our co-host John Enns is staring at me through the side window here. I locked him out so he can't get in, but he's writing me a note. Okay, I'll move on here really quick to the game picks. I'm still, despite everything I've said in my critiques of the Oilers, I'm going to take them at minus 140 on the money line.
I am
Bruce,
too, but I'm nervous about my pick, but I'm taking the Oilers too. It's going to be it's a good thing my fingernails are short because I could be chewing on them if the Oilers don't get off to a good start tonight. Okay,
so there we have it. My record to date, 24 for 39 at 61.54%.
Bruce is not so good.
He's asking if I want to drink from Tim's. Oh, what a guy. 24 for 39, 61.54%. Bruce, you slipped slightly, but you made up for it last night. You went 2 for 3 yesterday, so you're sitting at 48.72%.
Yep.
Not terrible. I mean, hey, you get some more ground to make up. You got a couple more rounds to get that number above 60% here.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, prop bets for today. One that I kind of liked here was Carolina to score in each period, excluding overtime at plus 270. They've been scoring in bunches. Yeah, it isn't. It's something different, and I just think at plus 270, it's probably worth a look. Ryan O'Reilly to record 2+ points. He has been good. I think he has 7 points through 5 games so far in this series. And when I look back at the stats for the regular season, he had 12 points, 6 goals in 10 games against the Wild. So for him to put up 2 points here, I think is doable at plus 330.
I think so.
And then McDavid to score and Leon Draisaitl to record 2+ points. I really like this bet. I actually didn't realize that they were playing together when I put that in here, but now that they're playing together on the top line, I think there's a really good chance you'll see Connor score and Leon record 2+ points.
If they're playing together, absolutely, because they were 10 minutes the other night. They were magic.
Yeah. So at plus 425, I think the odds makers probably missed that one.
Or it might change.
It could change between now and then for sure. But if you can get it at plus 425, I would look at it. Prop bets or shot props for tonight. Jake DeBrusk over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 140. I just like him playing on that top line. And in an elimination game, I think they're going to be putting a lot more pucks towards the net. And as we've mentioned many times, they are controlling the play 5-on-5. And then Justin Faulk over 2.5 shots on goal at plus 135. He's got 3+ shots on goal in 3 of 5 games in this series to date.
Seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. Goal props, Jake DeBrusk, just for obvious reasons we mentioned, plus 270. I've got Brayden Point here at plus 150. He's been a little bit quiet in this series, but you know what? He's typically been a really clutch playoff performer for the Lightning.
Big game performer, definitely.
And in an elimination game, I think we're going to see some magic from Brayden Point. This one's funny. Kirill Kaprizov, Bruce, at plus 130. They're still giving people plus money on Kirill Kaprizov to score.
Yeah, well, they'll figure it out soon.
This guy's about as automatic as it gets right now, so I would take that at plus 130. And then I just like Ryan O'Reilly at plus 225. He's been good. Him and David Perron have been excellent in the playoffs. For sure. I could see him potting one here too. So DFS picks for tonight. So for the reasons I just mentioned, I like Brayden Point at $5,200. He's actually some pretty nice value there. 11 fantasy points per game. I've got Trevor Moore in here because he has just been a real pain in the ass for the Oilers so far in this series.
He sure has.
I think he's got 5 points in 5 games. He's had a couple really big games and a couple quiet games, so it could be a boom or bust pick here, but he's actually averaging 15.34 points in this series.
Wow.
Evan Bouchard, I think with Nurse out of the lineup, we're going to see Bouchard take on a few extra minutes and maybe get some more power play time. So it could be some good things there from him. We both agree on this one, Bruce. Andre Vasilevskiy is the play for tonight in goal.
Absolutely. Playoff Vasilevskiy is going to show up tonight, and it's going to make the Leafs very frustrated.
Well, and Andre Vasilevskiy following a loss in the playoffs.
Exactly, right? He doesn't lose two in a row in the playoffs.
No, you might as well just put up a brick wall, call it a day.
Exactly.
And then Ryan O'Reilly's my other pick as a utility player, $4,600. He's averaging 18.04 points in this series. And then the stack I like tonight actually is Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Tony DeAngelo, and Antti Raanta. Raanta is actually great value at $7,700. Jarvis had a couple goals the other night. He's still just $3,100 in DraftKings. So I like that stack. If you can, I mean, you should be able to fit in your lineup. They're all pretty reasonably priced as well. Bruce, take it away.
And for me, for center, I went with Steven Stamkos. It's a big game for them, and he shows up for him, so that's why I went with him. Kirill Kaprizov, as we mentioned earlier, he's pretty much money, so went with him as well.
Yep.
Victor Hedman on defense. Again, these guys are going to come to play. We got him on defense, as we talked about already. Vasilevskiy in net, and my utility player was Seth Jarvis. My stack for tonight is Stamkos, Hedman, and Vasilevskiy.
Can't go wrong there. The Leafs hate is alive and well, Bruce.
Absolutely.
All right. That does it for today, guys. We're a little long, but you know what? We're actually not going to be back on tomorrow for our live stream. I am traveling. I'll be away for a family event. But we'll be back on Monday, Bruce. We're still going to do our DFS picks and prop bets for tomorrow as well. So we'll put those out over Twitter if you're a follower.
Get those posted.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe on Twitter at FHHacks, on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks. Check out the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out our website, fantasyhockeyhacks.com. I'm Devon.
I'm Bruce.
Thanks for listening, Bruce. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Sounds good. Talk to you then.
Take care.